All right, good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Two Geeks Talking is an entertainment industry interview show where we interview the creative people from the comic, film, TV, movie, and video game industry. And of course, I'm your host, Kurt Sasso. Happy Mother's Day to all new and/or continuing mothers as well today. I had a wonderful family gathering, and thanks, Mom. I wouldn't be here without you. So there you go.
Hi,
This
Mom.
is there you
If you're
go. And
watching
now,
this, I don't
if
know
you're
if she is or
watching
not.
this, well, she could be. We are we are joined on episode 360 with uh, a new comic creator that I found through Dave Barrick's Girl Power comic, who you've seen on the show before. Uh, she is, of course, the creator of the comic Superbitch, which is superbitchcomic.com. We're joined today by Kennedy Garza, or do you want Kennedy Cooke-Garza?
It's Cooke-Garza, yeah.
Okay. We're joined today by Kennedy Cooke-Garza, creator of Superbitch. How are you doing today, Kennedy?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for asking.
Awesome.
As I take a sip, the I gotta work on the camera switching. I first found your comic. We talked about this in the green room, but I first found your comic through Dave Barrick's GirlPowerComic.com, and uh, through his massive fan base and the fact that you had a very extensive archive. Um, Not only was it a very interesting comic, it was hilarious, and my twisted sense of humor definitely chuckled at many different things. But your server also crashed as well, thanks to rabid fan base too.
Yeah. I was not expecting that, but that's a good problem to have. Like we were talking earlier. My web host is a very small company that was not prepared for that, but they turned it around really quickly. So that was thanks, Dave.
I was almost expecting him to send you like virtual flowers or something like that, just to say, I'm sorry.
It was gone. Yeah, it was down for like a good 24 hours or so. But like I said, that's a good problem to have.
For those that have never actually read superbitchcomic.com, tell us what it's all about.
Okay, so Superbitch is an action comedy. It's kind of a superhero parody about a superhero for hire called Superbitch. She has this sidekick who is a superpowered, unemployed art school graduate. There's also their, computer guy. They're all three roommates, and it just kind of riffs on popular superhero tropes. It also touches on just a lot of things like, sometimes politics, society, just whatever is on my mind at the time.
And it's entertaining as well too. I mean, some of the past archives are just hilarious. With the You had various invasions going on throughout the entire comic itself. You've had hipsters, you've had Singles Day, you've had many other
Now that
many
you point
other.
that out, yeah, that there's a running theme there that I never noticed before.
Let's talk about the comic stuff because usually when it comes to comics or web comics or comics that are online, you start off with a basic concept and you build up your audience from there. Yeah, you're of course a soon-to-be graduate of the of sorry SCAD, I believe it is.
Yeah, the Savannah College of Art and Design.
I had to short form, but I couldn't remember the
Yeah,
entire name. Talk about when you first started Superbitch. What was your original concept? Was it a school project? Was it something that you just got fed up with the world and said, you know what, here we go?
no, it's interesting. So I started it my freshman year of college. It was about 4 years ago. It originally was not actually supposed to be a webcomic. It was just this in-joke that I had with my friends. I posted this drawing on Facebook of this like superhero team that was, kind of, but not really loosely based on myself and my best friend. And so a lot of my friends really like that. I've always drawn comics all throughout, elementary school and high school and all that. So a lot of my friends encouraged me to turn it into a webcomic. So I that first year I did a couple of strips, but I wasn't really very serious about it. I didn't have even like a Tumblr or anything. It was just an album on my Facebook. And then, so 2012, my sophomore year, I started taking it a little more seriously and started doing strips on a kind of semi-regular basis. Um, but I kind of fell off towards the like around the summer, so I went on a pretty big hiatus, and then in 2013 is when I really started, being more regular about it, and that's when I started updating twice a week, and I've been doing it since then, Mondays and Fridays. It's changed a lot over the course of the years. I've completely scrapped the character designs, just done completely different styles. The format's changed. Like, it's been in the regular 3-panel strips at some point, and then it's been like, the long, like, horizontal graphic novel format. Sometimes it's been in color, but it's mostly black and white. So yeah, it's just been a experiment for the whole time. It still is.
But it's a fun experiment too. I mean, obviously you're having a blast with it. It's popular. People love it, and you also did a Kickstarter campaign, which I can't wait to get the book there. luckily, the camera's on me, so I didn't see that.
Oh, okay.
I talk about the Kickstarter because it seems that your books went pretty quickly, I have to admit, and I enjoyed the fact that I was able to get in on the early bird special for book 1.
Yeah, we just finished up Wednesday. It's basically just a print collection of the first 3 years, so it's about 150 pages. I'm actually doing it as my senior project for college, so it's kind of like, get this book funded or I don't get to graduate. No, it's not quite that extreme, but so that's good because it's kind of giving me time, like I'm getting time, like I'm getting school-approved time to work on it, so it makes it a whole lot easier, but it's still a lot to take care of. But yeah, the initial goal was 3,600. We just finished up with 5,077, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, and around 136 backers. So yeah, it was a lot better than I expected it to do, so that's exciting.
Well, how was the promotion of it there? Because I unfortunately I was busy. I couldn't really follow it as much as I wanted to. But how did you promote it? How did you gain the backers that you had?
I am still not completely sure where those people came from. They are angels sent from, yeah. I just use my usual social media channels. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, DeviantArt, all that. So I posted all that. A lot of my friends and family are big fans of the comics, so they posted that on their Facebook. And of course, I go to school for comic books, so there's a pretty sizable network there of people that spread the word. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I probably did not promote it as much as I could have, but I'm very satisfied with the goal that we hit, with the amount that we finished up with. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So save that for book 2, and then you'll be able to really pump it up.
Yeah, if I have another book in me.
Oh, come on! Don't say that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm kidding. But yeah, now I'm just realizing that now is when the hard part starts. The promotional part is not really the difficult thing. It's like now, as soon as it finished up, I'm like watching, the minutes go down on the countdown, like 2 minutes left, and I'm just like, now I have to actually produce this book. So.
I hope you have a good publisher.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm I'm just using Amazon CreateSpace at the moment, so it's print on demand. So I'm self-publishing it myself. I'm gonna, lay it all out in InDesign. Just, I decided to go with print on demand because I'm actually going to be moving out of state as soon as I graduate in a couple of weeks. So I don't want to have to. That's going to be even more of a headache trying to ship out all these books while moving all my stuff. So.
Yeah, just wait till you cross the state line and then say, okay, now you can ship it to this address here.
Yeah. So that's so they can take off a little bit of the weight on that. So.
That's all right. Well, let's talk a little bit about yourself here. We mentioned scat. Sorry, if you yawn, I'm going to yawn.
I'm sorry. I told you I'm probably going to be doing that a lot. It's this has been kind of a crazy week.
I'm having fun. Talk about scat here because a lot of talented comic creators and web comic creators have been a part of that illustrious alumni, and you're going to be one of them in a couple of weeks. So congratulations on that. Why did you want to go to SCAD?
Let's see. So my senior year of high school, I knew that I wanted to go to some kind of art school. I wasn't completely sure what I wanted to do. I thought maybe, just freelance illustration, maybe concept art for video games, maybe, comics, because I've always done that. And so SCAD, I found like a brochure or something in my school's library, and that was one of the only schools that I encountered that had a sequential art department, so I was immediately drawn to that, which is kind of funny because originally I was not actually a sequential major. I came in as illustration with a concept art minor, but after I took a couple of the classes as electives, then I was like, all right, I gotta switch, I gotta get in on all this. So yeah, it's a great school. I mean, I'm having a bit of a love-hate relationship with it with these last 3 weeks, but that's just the part of being a senior, I guess. But but yeah, the department is really great, especially for for comics, for illustration, for concept. Like, it's just yeah, it's awesome. Not meaning to be like Kennedy Cooke-Garza is not affiliated with Savannah College of Art and Design. I do not get paid to talk about this, but yeah.
You only go by your personal experiences there.
Yeah.
Well, then, what about some of the alumni that have come out of there? Have you connected with any of them, or have you approached any of them? Those that have been either part of the webcomic community or online comics community?
I'm not like super close to I do know like several of the alumni that have webcomics, but it's not. It's more like I don't know them personally. I know of them. One of my friends, Rue Shu, does Saint for Rent. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. She's been going with that for a while. Let's see, who else? I know I am familiar with Angela Sprecher. She does, I think, crap, I completely blanked on the name of her comic. It's terrible, but yeah, just kind of various people, but not a whole lot of people off the top of my head that I know super well. There's, I mentioned this earlier when we were talking beforehand, there's not as many webcomics in the department as you would think. For for a major that's dedicated completely to comics, you would think everybody would have theirs on the web, but it's
Well, I guess there's traditionalists, and there's also those that are finding other ways to promote their material as well too. I mean,
yeah.
But it's however you need to promote yourself is the way to do it, whether it's online or whether it's traditional methods or both, for that matter. Which I don't think there's any real difference per se, other than where you started with.
Oh yeah, and and it's not easy to keep a consistent schedule with SCAD's pretty notorious for their time-intensive curriculum. We have this little acronym for it called Sleep Comes After Deadlines. So that's what and the sequential department's really interesting though, because there's all kinds of comics. Like, there are people that want to do traditional superhero stuff like Marvel and DC. There's like independent people. There's your handful of manga and anime kind of stuff, and then there's more experimental combination of all these, and then there are the odd concept artists like me that are like, I want to make video games, but yeah, it's an interesting mix.
Well, concept art is actually very interesting and unique in the sense that it's necessary. It's if you look at the old Star Wars books, or you look at the old Star Trek stuff, or any of the those genres, at least in terms of film production, which is more my major. You see some pretty amazing and intricate work, especially the old stuff from the Star Wars, which really gets me from the back in the 70s.
Oh yeah,
painted on.
Yeah, all hand painted. That's I can't do that.
I can't either. You can see in the background. But sorry.
No, I didn't say that.
That's okay. Well, let's talk about your creativity here, because those that are creative people, as many of those that have come on the show, they don't really talk about this, but I'm curious in regards to yourself being a concept artist as well as a sequential artist and going into video games. What is your muse like?
Wow, I still have not figured out the answer to that question. It comes and goes. It is a very, very fickle mistress. Is that the thing that the thing that people say?
Sure,
I don't
yeah.
know. I have no idea still what my creative process is. Sometimes it comes to me very quickly. Sometimes I'm staring at a blank page or a blank piece of paper for about 3 hours, and yeah, that's a difficult thing to nail down. But yeah, it comes to you from the weirdest places, like I get a whole lot of my ideas from when I'm just driving in my car, but when I sit down to actually think about it, it's a whole lot harder.
Okay, well, let's try and use your one.
Sorry about that.
No. This is my fault. I tried a different question. Well, I guess you've already mentioned where do you draw inspiration from? Pretty much in the car, so that works out well. So that crosses that off.
Well, I mean, it kind of depends on which process you're talking about, because for comics, like, let's say just the strip specifically, it's pretty much just from conversations I have with people, just hanging out in random places, and I just jot down anything that seems funny or seems like an interesting concept to me at the time, and then kind of throw them all together later. For, say, like illustration or like concept work, that's a little different because I usually am not the one in charge of thinking for that. It's usually my art director, says do this, or for, professors or something, you're given a prompt and you can kind of work with that, and it very much depends on like if I'm speed painting or designing characters or something. Sometimes I use different processes like creating silhouettes first for characters, or just completely throwing random stuff down on the page and seeing what works. So it's very sporadic.
All right, then I guess regarding the comic strip specifically, then in what areas do you feel that you're most creative when you're creating comic strips?
What area most creative? Also a difficult question, because I feel I guess kind of like the just the visual aspect of it in general, like the kind of the facial expressions. Like I love conveying stuff through nonverbal. Like there's a lot of kind of physical comedy in my strip. So I think there's that, and I guess writing in general. I feel like I go through a lot of dry spells, but I feel like that's also a strong aspect of the strip, or that's a big part of it anyway. They're a big draw, I guess.
When do you feel that you're least creative?
All of it. No, I'm kidding. Well, I guess broad concepts like, superheroes are not exactly a new thing, and there's not a ton of stuff that you can do with them, which, I don't really have a problem with that, because I love them, and I still love, revisiting those same tropes. I realize that other people have probably done it better, or probably have touched on certain topics before I have, but, I don't care. I like what I do. So.
Who are some of your favorite superheroes then?
Knew you were gonna ask that. It's the cliche to go with Wonder Woman, but of course, that's.
Who will probably never get a movie in the next 10 years, but here's hoping they do. But
I don't know. That's kind of a tricky subject, because it's like you want them to do it, you want them to make one, but you also don't want them to do it badly. Let's not have a Halle Berry Catwoman movie come out.
Or a Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oi, Jesus, yeah. I just went and saw Captain America 2 last night, and I still haven't seen the trailer for the Ninja Mutant Turtles movie until that, and I was just.
Yeah, no. You'll be screaming at the TV and/or computer screen. Why, Michael Bay?
I mean, to be fair, I've never particularly cared about Ninja Turtles, and I'm not about to start now, but still watching that, I was just kind of like, I feel like I would be really insulted if I cared about this subject. But
All right. Well, what did you think of the? Did you get to see the trailer for X-Men: Days of Future Past?
yes, I am big. I'm excited about that. Yeah, I mean, I will fork over my money to see anything that is, any big dumb action movie with lots of things blowing up, and yeah, I'm easy to please, but
They did. I have to admit, they could have done a poor job on it, but they really seem to have gone with a lot of the comic and even the cartoon series for most of that.
yeah, and isn't it? I feel like I'm not as up to date on this stuff, but aren't Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch? Is it
Mhm.
true that they are actually going to be? They're both going to be in both Days of Future Past and what Avengers 2 or
Avengers 3. No, sorry. Avengers 2: Age of Ultron,
yeah.
and probably the next. Oh, what is it? And probably the next Captain America one as well.
Yeah, yeah, because we saw
Right.
the end credits scene at the end. Yeah, yeah.
The end credits.
Yeah. We do this every time me and my boyfriend go and see these kinds of things. We're the only people in the theater that stick around. We're like, who has not learned by now to stay after the credits for a Marvel movie?
Exactly. I actually had to see the Captain America a second time because I missed staying to the end credits for the first time, and I'm like, oh, come on, like.
Yeah.
So, well, let's get back to after we did
Yeah,
the
that was a
pop
tangent.
culture aspect, but that was a good segue there. What was one of your most creative mistakes then?
Um, I don't know if I want to call it a mistake or not, but like I said in the beginning, it was very disorganized. It was not originally meant to be a webcomic. I started and stopped many times. I changed the format a whole lot, which at the time I was just like, yeah, whatever, it's on the web, it doesn't matter. But now that I'm putting it into print, it's really hard I'm having to, like cut up certain long pages to make them fit and kind of stretch and squish things around so that I can get everything um, into and it looks like I feel bad about how the style changes so much in the book, but I mean some people will probably like that. You can see how it evolved from the beginning. But if I had to do it all over again, I would probably start, with intention. Like start with this comic that I'm developing, and these are the characters, and this is yeah.
Good stuff. No, I think it's good that you see where you started from. Especially, I love that type of progression personally because if you go back to a comic that has like 1,000 pages or 500 pages or whatever, and they kept their original archive, you see that amazing progression, how many hundreds of thousands of hours they put into these characters and these worlds, and you can definitely see that with Superbitch as well too.
Yeah. And I say I feel bad about it, but the more I think about it, like I don't think there is a single webcomic where that's not the case. Like the longer they go on, the more things change. Like if you get 500 strips or so, it's going to look nothing like when you first started. And if it does, you're probably doing something wrong. But that's just my opinion.
Or you just have a really large what do they call that? Oh yeah, queue backlog, queue of comics already up.
Yeah, buffer queue.
Buffer,
I
right?
still don't have one of those.
Let's talk about. Let's see, what else do we have here? You know, you as a not as a comic creator, but as a person, what are you most passionate about?
Um, hmm. Also a difficult question. I guess just making things in general, like comics, illustration, a little bit of writing. Just I used to act a little in high school. Just all kinds of stuff. Just I can't. I'm extremely right-brained, and I just can't, turn that part of the brain off. So I guess just creating things in general.
That's good. Well, you're in the right field, so that works out
Yeah,
very well.
yeah.
What do you fear the most then?
Um, Debt.
Yeah, well,
That's that's probably everybody's or every college student's fear, which I feel like that probably comes out a lot in the comic with the character of Caroline, the art hobo. Um, yeah, I probably should at least feel a little bit better about that now that I at least have a job lined up, but it's still like so. I guess the fear is taking a risk with pursuing something creative and not having it pay off. I mean, it still pays off, in the you're personally satisfied with it kind of way, but having it not physically pay off, that is a big fear. But so far, so good. It seems to be doing all right now that we just got the Kickstarter done. So.
Well, and that's a great positive, especially with your career just starting too. And I mean, many people usually want to get into video games as programmers, as designers or coders or anything along that line, or environmental, level design, like I would have loved to have done back in the day. But do you find that there's an actual job market for conceptual artists?
It's a very small field, or it's a very small market in general. A lot of the concept jobs are more on a contract basis now than rather in-house, or at least that's what I'm starting to find. So I feel really, really lucky that I got this job with this game company down in Florida, but I'm also doing more of their like 2D in-game graphics. It's kind of a 2D like side-scroller kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah, so concept's a very competitive field, but very worth it in my opinion.
Do you think we'll see Superbitch at comic conventions?
Hopefully so. Yeah, it's my goal to table at least one convention this year, maybe two if I can swing it. I have never done like an official convention before. Of course, I've had nothing to, I've had no books or merchandise to display. Just last week or 2 weekends ago, SCAD actually put on this little small, like kind of mini convention called SwarmCon. So I had a table at the Artist Alley there. So I consider that kind of a practice run, I guess. In an actual convention, I would, have books and things to sell, as opposed to that was mostly just a way to promote the comic before the Kickstarter ended.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I think the putting your work out there is always kind of a scary thing as well too. You don't know what the reaction is going to be. You don't know how your peers are going to take it. Well, your peers are loving it, so that works out really well. But what about the in terms of if you didn't have to do comics, what would you be doing?
I would say probably focusing on the video game stuff. I would maybe be doing, in addition to concept, like a little more 3D work. Like I'm just now getting to, so I'm a minor, a concept art minor at SCAD, and part of the curriculum is doing a little bit of 3D stuff in addition to, the digital painting kind of things. So I think that's really cool. I don't know if I have time nowadays to, completely pursue it because it's a pain learning a new software, but that's really interesting to me, like stuff like Maya and ZBrush and, like you were talking about, the actual environment, like level design and character creation, things like that. So I'd really like to get into that a little bit more, but I don't know how feasible that is for a while anyway.
Well, yeah, I think the skills you're building up are definitely worthwhile, and definitely you could easily branch into it. It's not like you'd be learning from scratch. So
yeah.
maybe we could see a Superbitch side scroller or something like that.
Hey, maybe so. I actually thought about doing it as a web series a couple of years ago.
Nice.
Yeah, and I tried like doing it myself. I actually tried to teach myself After Effects and do like little short skits in there, but it turns out animation's really hard, and I'll stick to comics. That takes too long.
It's a little time consuming, If I happen to be down Florida's way, if you want to ever, start the web series again, I'll be happy to, work something out.
Hey, maybe so. It's a very time-intensive process. I'm coming to think, and I don't know. I think for right now it works probably best as a webcomic, simply because I have complete, control.
Control.
It's very easy to produce. I can very quickly get it out to the public.
You know, everyone has that one person that kind of set them on their path to where they are today. Who was that for you?
I don't know if it's really, one particular person. My whole family is very supportive of it. Like they've always been the case. Like they were always very supportive of me going to art school and pursuing comics. And they're all very creative and hilarious people, like all of them. So obviously that had a big influence on wanting to do art and comics and humor in general. I guess since it's Mother's Day, I'll say my mom. But yeah, I would say probably just that group of people in general was very supportive of that and gave me a lot of material to work with as far as humor goes.
You know, obviously you've had a successful Kickstarter campaign. You know, you're graduating, so your success as a student of SCAD, or now soon to be graduate of SCAD. But you consider yourself personally successful?
I would say so. Yeah, at this point. Yeah, I only in the last few weeks have I been really feeling like that. Now that I've got actual source of income, and the Kickstarter is doing well, and it seems like the comic's starting to take off. I probably shouldn't, chalk success up to just other people telling me that they like my stuff, but but also being, personally validated, like loving what I do. I think that is a big part of it. So yeah, I'd say I definitely feel successful at this point in my life.
Nice, good stuff. Well, then, how do you deal with your failures?
I drink a lot. No, I'm kidding.
I'm fine, Mom. Thanks for that.
I'm completely kidding. I'm 90% kidding. If there's anything I've learned from art school and from going through the whole critique process, which is just kind of like standing in front of a firing squad and have everybody tell you every reason that you suck to your face, I've definitely learned to just roll with the punches and just keep going. In 5 years or so, you're not gonna care about what you think is a failure today. So.
Nice. I like that. I think you should put that on a T-shirt.
In 5 years, you're not gonna care about what you think is a failure today. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You could give that to Carolyn, your art hobo character. Put that on like in one of her panels. I think that'd be hilarious.
With her law college sheet, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Put it on the back or something. Yeah. Let's see. Obviously, the younger generation are looking towards the internet. They're looking towards Tumblr and Instagram and Twitter and all of these social media aspects, and they're seeing people that inspire them, as I'm sure you've been inspired yourself by many people that are successful or that you admire. But as this younger generation looks to you to be inspired, how can they inspire the generation below them?
I think probably just keep doing what they're doing, or just keep doing what they love. That's such a canned answer. That's such a cliche thing to say. But
you aren't the first to say that, by the way.
Wait, what?
You aren't the first to say that, by the way.
What? Just keep doing what you love? Well, yeah. I mean, because honestly, I don't really know how to answer that, because I still am figuring that out for myself. But yeah, do what makes you happy.
Well, that's good. You have to be happy. You have to be passionate. You have to enjoy what you're physically doing. Let's see what else. Is there anything that I haven't brought up other than that I love what you're doing with Superbitch, and the fact that you had a successful Kickstarter, the fact that you're doing what you love. Is there anything that I haven't personally asked you that you'd love for those that are watching this live, those that are listening to this on iTunes, that you'd like to let them know about?
Not sure if off the top of my head. Well, I do also. I don't know if other people who follow me know this. I also do like this. I have this sketch blog that I do like speed paintings, or at least I try to every day. It's called the Daily Spit Paint, which is where you just do like a 30-minute digital painting. I have not updated it in the last couple of weeks because I've kind of been, you know,
Swamped.
yeah, but yeah, like digital painting. I don't know if a lot of my comic readers realize that I do that also, but
Hmm.
I have my portfolio is sleeplessmuseart.com, which is linked to on my website on the Superbitch site, and then that's linked to my sketch blog where I do all that stuff. So,
Nice, nice.
yep.
Have you done any commissions or any uh, well, any drawings that you started with an idea and then it changed midway through?
Um, A lot, yeah. I don't know about commissions in particular, but and I don't know if I can think of a specific uh, period, but that happens a lot, especially in the concept uh, field. Like you'll start out with a design for a character and it changes like a million different ways way down the line, or the whole concept of the project gets scrapped and you get going in a completely different direction. But
And I guess the final question for me is if there was one person you could collaborate with, be it you know famous or infamous or past or present, that you would feel that would benefit you as a creative person, who would that be?
Now that this is gonna sound kind of like a crappy thing to say, but I honestly am not a huge fan of collaborating with other people. I'm starting to realize, like, I mean, except for in a studio scenario where I'm collaborating with multiple people, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. It would be cool to collaborate with some of my peers here at SCAD, which I have done a couple of times, just for schoolwork stuff, but. Uh, in general, I'm too big of an egomaniac to collaborate with other people unless I'm forced. That sounds like I said, crappy thing to say, but yeah.
That's all right. Hey, as long as you enjoy what you're doing, that's the main thing. Kennedy, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I hate to say it, but that ends the this episode. It's amazing how much time flies, truly.
Yeah, wow, yeah, no problem. Thank you for inviting me on the show. It was
Well,
awesome.
well, not a problem. And that ends this episode, episode 360, which is also episode 2 of 42 of the challenge, where I interview 42 creative people every single day for the next 6 weeks. And I hope you tune in tomorrow for another great interview. We're going to be interviewing an actor, director, and actor, director, writer. Just finished his his second film, I should say. It's a horror film called Infliction. We're going to be interviewing Jack Thomas. So stay tuned for that, and it's going to be pretty amazing and spectacular. And as always, take a look at Kennedy's work on superbitchcomic.com and follow her Twitter, follow her other websites, which we'll have posted in the show notes down below. And don't forget, we are available on iTunes for the audio version of the show. We're available on YouTube, youtube.com/TGT Media. And of course, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/Two Geeks Talking. And if you want to support this show, it's only $1 a month if you want to go that route. We have other levels as well that will allow you to even become a co-host if you want to be on this show and interview your favorite creative person like I did today. I hope everyone has a great night. Thanks for watching.
Bye, y'all.